Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, flying solo. So the Warriors, they are 10-11 now. They beat the now 6-14 Portland Trailblazers at home at Chase Center in a game that the Warriors shot really, really poorly. Andrew Wiggins shot 3 for 12. Klay Thompson shot 3 for 13. Klay was 1 for 8 from 3, although he did hit a big 3 in the fourth and sealed the win with a couple of clutch free throws with 2.2 seconds left. But I just want to talk about two people. First, Jonathan Kuminga, and then Steve Kerr. Jonathan Kuminga, I give that dude a ton of credit because it was pretty clear from the outset that he was not going to play in the first half, and you assumed he wasn't going to play the rest of the game. He was just going to be out of the rotation, but Steve Kerr put him in, and he didn't rush anything. He didn't force anything. He looked really calm and chill and smooth, and he just executed his game, and he didn't chuck up any threes. He didn't try to force any mid-rangers. Everything he did went in. And I'm seeing some growth with that dude. He played 17 minutes, 6 for 6 from the field, 1 for 2 from the line, with just one board, 13 points though. And he had the highest plus minus on the night for the Warriors, plus 13. The next closest was Dario Saric at plus 7. So, it shouldn't be surprising that Kuminga closed, but it is kind of surprising how he's been a little bit yo-yoed with his playing time as of late, and Steve Kerr put him in and left him in and trusted him to finish the game. Again, as a closer, you go back a year ago and Steve Kerr was using Jonathan Kuminga in closing lineups. I remember talking last season that the Warriors had several guys that Steve Kerr could use in his closing lineup, and Kuminga was one of them, right? Don't get it twisted. Let's not forget. He was really good last season, the whole season, even before Andrew Wiggins went out or was gone for a few months for personal issues. So Kuminga was there. It's just that, his role has always shifted within this roster, but credit to him for coming in and bringing that energy. There's some teams that are maybe not a great matchup for Kuminga, and then there's teams that are really good matchups, and I think the Clippers are a good matchup for Kuminga. I think that this Portland team, the Warriors needed some athleticism and speed and just some juice off of the bench, and Kuminga was that guy. Steve Kerr was playing Podziemski and Moses Moody a lot. Moses Moody played well. Dude had 12 points in 26 minutes, was attacking the basket, even though he doesn't have that much lift or athleticism. He's crafty and he's young, so he's still got some lift relative to the older dudes. So he was 5 for 10, only 1 for 4 from 3, but definitely active. He had 4 boards and a steal. So you like to see that. Podziemski, 21 minutes, 3 points only, 5 boards, 1 assist. But the thing was, Podziemski was getting torched in the second half on defense by Simons, by Scoot Henderson, all those dudes. Podziemski is a tough dude, and he can rebound and he can do a lot of things. But just in this one, he was getting burned, and I felt like that was a reason to take him out and try Kuminga. Kuminga basically in this closing lineup, he kind of played like the Gary Payton role, right? He was picking up point on defense. He was guarding some of the athletic perimeter guys that Gary Payton would probably have been doing, and he had that massive did I say massive dunker spot alley-oop from Draymond Green to just rip the roof off of Chase Center. A few times Kuminga had a chance to throw up some dunks in the second half. There was a breakaway. His first play, he got a steal and one man fast break. Everybody stood up to see what he would do, but he just did like a really, really soft two-handed dunk. But this is what people want to see from Kuminga, because I swear when Draymond threw that ball up there, kind of happened in slow motion for me, because I was like, that looks possibly too high. But then Kuminga, just obviously we know how high that dude can jump, and he snagged it and threw it down. And on the TV, that was a loud dunk. It was just like this thud. And you could tell that he loved it. Draymond loved it. Chase Center loved it. And it got everybody up. And, it was fun. It was the most lively part of the evening. So you love to see that. And again, hopefully Kuminga can keep building on this and keep showing what he can do. And the other person I do want to talk about, like I said, is Steve Kerr, because for the past week, ever since that Kings game, I've talked about it. Everyone in the basketball universe has talked about it, how Steve Kerr needs to be more flexible and ride the hot hand and whatnot. And there was a point in the fourth quarter, I don't know if y'all saw this, but Klay Thompson went to the scorer's table to check in, and Steve Kerr talked to him. And then eventually Klay walked back to the bench. So he pulled Klay back, which he normally does not do, and he hadn't done. And this is exactly what he needed to do against the Kings. And he did it here. And, props to Klay. Hopefully he took that well. But he wanted to see what some of these other guys would do. And then eventually he brought Klay in. He gave Moody a shot, a little bit of a longer look, Podziemski a little bit of a longer look maybe, and then put Klay in. And he closed, for the most part, with Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond Green. For a long time last season, I would say that is their best lineup, their best closing lineup, because you have shooting. Well, if Klay and Wiggins were actually shooting well, but you have shooting, you have some defense, you have rebounding, and you have athleticism. And, you're still small, but what Warriors lineup pretty much is not small. So that one is a lineup that can mix it up with various other teams. So, props to Kerr. And then also just riding the hot hand in terms of Kuminga. Kuminga was bringing the energy that he needed, and Kuminga rewarded him for that, right? With a really, really, really solid fourth quarter. So Steve Kerr, again, it's not a stretch that he would have closed with Kuminga even a year ago, but to see him just kind of go with who's working, and especially, that little thing of pulling Klay back to give the young guys a little bit more run, just to see if they had any more juice left in this game, because they needed that from somewhere. And the young guys brought the energy, but it was really Kuminga in this one who, stood out again. Moses Moody played well. Podziemski did his thing. But, definitely glad the Warriors got this win, because if they blew another lead in the final minute, they were trailing in this one and looked sluggish, and Portland was coming after them and whatnot. So the Warriors didn't have a 20-point lead in this one, but they were up 4 in the final minute. And it was like, okay, don't blow this, because we've seen for years how the Warriors never blow these, but we've seen in the past week how and even last season, we've seen how they can trip over themselves, not execute, have some bad luck and lose games. But this is one where you obviously expected them to win this one, especially with several days off and getting Chris Paul back and Andrew Wiggins back. But good to just, put this one away and hopefully build a little bit more confidence and, feel a little bit better about yourselves when you got Oklahoma City coming up next. And we know how tough Oklahoma City has played this Warriors team and what kind of matchup nightmare they are. So curious to see what Steve Kerr can come up with. And if some of these guys, like if Wiggins, back from that finger slamming in the door thing, can right the ship, can get his shot back. If Klay, I mean, don't know what's going on with Klay, man. He's missing badly. So not exactly sure, because we know that his stroke is pure. So maybe his timing is just off or whatever. But hopefully he gets that back and, go from there. Anyway, fun game mostly at the end, if you know what I'm saying. All right, that's all I got.